Donald Trump is in full-blown meltdown mode because his big, ugly bill, the least popular piece of legislation in history, is being ripped apart all across the country. And it'll be the end of his presidency. And someone who has communicated that maybe better than anyone is Congressman Jamie Raskin, who is clearly upset Donald Trump because what he had to say about his big, ugly bill triggered Trump into a Truth Social meltdown that we are going to get into, and then check out how Jamie Raskin fired back. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button because it goes a long way in supporting our channel. Now let's take a look at what Jamie Raskin had to say to trigger Trump's meltdown.
You know, it's just Trump's devilishly clever politics where he's already distancing himself from a bill that he knows will be a nightmare, and then he'll blame it on somebody else for not having told him what was really in there. We don't know. But the point is that we should, as a society, be able to step back from this and say, look, if it's a great bill, let's take 2 weeks and explain to everybody how great it is. And if it's a terrible bill, let's get rid of it and let's start all over again.
Yeah, and I mean, my read on this is that he doesn't really care that much one way or the other, and certainly doesn't care enough to spend the time to understand, like, the distributional consequences of the Medicaid provisions. Like, there's no way that if you sat him down, he could talk you through what's happening here. But the other thing that I wanted to ask you about is, part of what's so weird to me is we had, you know, the first few months of his administration and Elon Musk with his chainsaw at Doge, and Russ voted OMB, who basically have staked themselves on the constitutional principle that spending decisions for Congress are simple advice. They're sort of suggestions. And then the executive can do with them what they want. And it's very weird to be legislating under those circumstances to me. Like, all this ICE money, right? Like, presumably some future Democratic administration could be like, no, we're not spending it. Like, it doesn't seem to have ultimately sunk into Congress that they have allowed so much power to accrete to Trump and the executive.
Well, the Democrats understand it because, of course, what he's doing is sabotaging all of the legislation that we've either gotten passed with President Biden or that we've fought for some kind of compromise with the Republicans. And he thinks he's got the power just to impound it, thwart it, redirect it. And it's an absolute violation of Congress's powers under the spending clause under Article 1 of the Constitution. And it is scandalous that the Republicans won't stand up for that at all. They act like our power is purely advisory, like we're a recommendation panel for what should happen. And so we know that the district courts and the appeals courts have been standing with us on this question. And we hope that, you know, Thomas and Alito are not able to pull the rest of the court over to this monarchical understanding of Article 2 of the Constitution, that somehow the president can do whatever he wants. I mean, the president's core job is to take care that the laws are faithfully executed, not thwarted and rewritten and not impounded. An Appropriations Act, Chris, as you know, is a federal law, just like the law saying you cannot assault a federal officer. You can't violate an Appropriations Act and just decide you're going to use the money for a different purpose.
Do you think the political consequences will show up for your members of the House who vote for this bill, particularly those, say, the ones in the swing districts, the ones like Derek Van Orden in Wisconsin, who's got a lot of Medicaid recipients and rural hospitals in his district?
Yes, because the pain will start to be felt immediately as millions of people are thrown off of Medicaid, off Medicare in different ways, the Affordable Care Act, and as people lose their SNAP benefits. And what is it for? They can't say it's for deficit reduction or debt reduction. They're adding trillions of dollars to the debt. It's all to give money to the very richest people in the society who run the Republican Party, and they will continue this authoritarian program. I mean, authoritarianism is always involved in class war of the rich against the rest of society.
Yeah.
And so they're acting out this drama.
Jamie Raskin has been spot on in calling out this bill. And of course, we spoke to him last week, and he was still calling out how destructive this bill is. And that nonstop pushback against Trump has clearly driven him a little bit crazy, as we see in this Truth Social meltdown. Trump wrote on Truth Social, Congressman Jamie Raskin, a third-rate Democrat politician, has no idea what is in our fantastic cut bill, nor would he understand it if he did. The dope has been consistently losing to me for years, and I love watching his face as he is forced to consistently concede defeat to Trump. And tonight should be another of those nights. Raskin is a bad politician and a total loser. Saying that Jamie Raskin is ugly and that he is a total loser is a lot of projection from Donald Trump, and Jamie Raskin caught on to that pretty quickly because he was not taking any of the BS from Donald Trump. He instantly fired back at him in just a brutal takedown that I want to take a look at right here.
Stand this tax bill, and you never will. Is it possible, Congressman Raskin, that Donald Trump understands this tax bill better than you do, even though we have reports from the Oval Office that Donald Trump doesn't think that this bill is cutting Medicaid? That's what some Republicans have said about what he has said today.
Well, that's precisely how I think I upset him, Lawrence. I simply said, if the president is lecturing the Republicans that they should never touch Medicaid or Medicare or Social Security, he clearly does not know what's in his own bill. And I didn't lob that at him as an accusation, but simply as a statement, because he would not be saying those things if he understood that that's what their bill does. They're talking about throwing 17 million Americans off of their health insurance. It's a $1 trillion cut in Medicaid. Meantime, he's telling them that they shouldn't be touching Medicaid. So I pointed that out. Apparently, it came to his attention, and he just launched into one of his inimitable diatribes. I suppose I don't mind being called a loser several times by Donald Trump, given that he's our only president who has lost the popular vote for president in 2 different elections. And the last time, when he lost by more than 7 million votes to Joe Biden, it upset him so much that he incited an insurrection against the Constitution, against his own vice president, and against the Congress of the United States. And so, that one doesn't trouble me so much. I suppose I don't like being called ugly by Donald Trump, but not everybody can live up to his exquisite levels of handsomeness and personal physical grace. And so that I would consider myself probably in the large majority of American men who simply can't live up to the exquisite standards that he set and his extraordinary popularity with American women.
Congressman, it was 2011 when I became the first person in the political media for Donald Trump to attack on Twitter. And I have to say it was very hurtful because he said something very similar about my looks at the time. And my makeup artist here, Bilgie, was very hurt by it because she does enormous work to try to hide what I really look like here. And Donald Trump apparently pierced that veil. Congressman.
Well, I'll just add one other thing. Look, the real sin is having an ugly bill that throws millions of people off health care and an ugly soul. And people obviously can't control their looks. So Donald Trump should try to be a little more gentle in public about that.
Congressman, we have a federal judge today who's ruling in a class action suit, so it's different from what the Supreme Court said federal district judges could not do with national injunctions. This does have national implications. And that federal judge has said, absolutely not. Donald Trump can simply not rewrite or ignore laws written by Congress, in this case, the asylum law. But that ruling that he announced today certainly would apply to many other laws that Donald Trump has just ignored and rewritten.
Well, that's absolutely right. I mean, Trump and the people who surround him are acting like we have one of those constitutions that you find in certain dictatorships, which say that the executive can just declare an emergency and do whatever he wants. That's not our Constitution. Our Constitution applies in peacetime. It applies in wartime. It applies to Congress. It applies to the president. It applies to the states. It applies to everybody all the time. And so this is a very powerful, stinging opinion, more than 100 pages, saying that the president cannot just unilaterally override the Constitution and the Immigration and Naturalization Act. We have immigration laws in America. America, and the president's got to abide by them. If he thinks that they're not good policy, come to Congress, submit a bill. He can get stuff through Congress. Look what's happening right now. They're about to throw 17 million people off of their health care coverage, so he can get it through, but he has no right otherwise to trample our Constitution and federal laws, which are supreme under Article 6 of the Constitution. We've got a supreme Constitution, not a supreme leader.
Carson, so the vote is holding right now with the 9 Republicans not voting, 4 no votes. The 4 no votes does not include Thomas Massie, so we know there's a 5th one that's available. Thomas Massie might be talking to those other 8 who haven't voted yet. We'll see what happens here. But it's not clear where we're going to end up tonight. This bill does have a significant amount of Donald Trump's border policy in here. I won't call it immigration policy because it's a policy built on preventing anyone from coming into the country and trying to snatch millions upon millions of people and throwing them out of this country, even if they've been here for 60 years, even if they came here legally from Cuba, as a 75-year-old man did 60 years ago, died in prison thanks to Donald Trump after being snatched by those ICE agents. So there is actually a lot of Republican border policy in this bill tonight.
Well, yes, indeed. I think what has the Republicans petrified is that the word has gotten out about what's really in the bill, and it's overwhelmingly unpopular in the country. It's throwing 17 million people off their health care, more than 40 million people off of nutritional benefits and SNAP benefits, and it will drive our national debt much higher, another $3.5 or $4 trillion that the Republicans are going to add to the debt. And why would they vote for it? The only reason why would be to give an extra gargantuan tax break to the wealthiest people and corporations in the country. And we simply can't afford what they're trying to do to the country. It will be a very dangerous movement for America to go in this direction.
Now, as I previously said, I got the opportunity to speak with Congressman Raskin, someone who's a great friend of this show, last week. And something that he brought up to me is that Donald Trump has never quite been able to land on a nickname for him. And it just kind of makes me chuckle considering the meltdown that we saw from Trump tonight. He is the one who is very clearly in decline, who doesn't even know what's in his own bill, who doesn't really have much in his head. He can't even come up with a nickname for Jamie. Jamie was like, Congressman Raskin was like, you don't have anything, Donald? You can't bring it? Well, where's that fastball? Where are all the nicknames? Little Marco, low energy Jeb, you got nothing for Jamie Raskin? Of course he's going to attack him, but honestly, I'm going to be real here. I think he's kind of afraid of him. Jamie Raskin knows what he's doing with regards to the law, and Donald Trump is very, very afraid of that. I won't be surprised to see more attacks coming because Trump just reveals always how weak and insecure he is. And we're going to be calling that out and covering it. Hopefully we have Jamie Raskin on again soon to talk about it. And if you want to see that, of course, you can hit that subscribe button to be the first to see. And if you enjoyed this video, obviously, you can leave a like and drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.